New at 8 o'clock, the restaurant industry hit hard by COVID-19, but not all hope is lost. One company says they've got the steps to keep your favorite restaurants open. We're live with Matt Vanini, president of Restaurant Solutions. I want to ask you first off, I just went to a local joint here called The Source. It's a great place. One of my favorite restaurants, Acorn, they've closed. And we had that story over and over again with restaurants that just could not sustain with the reduced number of people coming through the doors. It's a common story, isn't it?
It absolutely is a common story. And first and foremost, thanks for having us this morning. It's a very common story. And unfortunately, for most of us in the industry, the only experience that any of us have to what's going on right now is when we opened our restaurants for the very first time. And, you know, when we opened them for the first time, we didn't have our brands. We didn't have our local guest loyalty.
Right.
And right now, when you look at stalwart brands like Acorn and their sister restaurants, there's a lot of factors that are going on that are really influencing them. And the first and foremost is the relationship between the number of guests that we're limited by. And most of us have, when we open up our restaurants, we're building up to our brands. Here, we're doing just the opposite. We're trying to figure out, hey, I've got a 50% max seating capacity. How much money can I really make when I used to make X?
Right. And let me ask you about that, because I think for a lot of restaurants, and you can get some advice here, we also saw Punch Bowl Social, that new facility up in Stapleton that was so beautiful. Restaurants are making the call. Should I just stay closed and not open my doors until I can have full capacity, or can I make a profit opening my doors with reduced capacity? What has your group found?
So math wins the day, and the way that we as restaurant operators typically determine our revenue is that we look at the total revenue of our facilities, and then we multiply it out times what a guest is going to spend. That does not work in this situation on any level. What we have to do is we have to look at each seat and determine what the max revenue is per seat. And you'll see very quickly that 50% reduction in seats is not a 50% reduction in sales. It's actually far greater than that. So, but what it allows us to do is, by determining that revenue per seat, it also allows us to know how many other ancillary ways that we have to get revenue. For example, third-party marketplace facilitators, DoorDash, Grubhub, Caviar. How much of that do you need in order to augment your dining? And the only way to do that is revenue generated per seat. If you get less than, let's say, 50 seats, but yet you're in, let's say, Bellevue Station, where you have a high traffic content, it might make sense for you to DoorDash and make up the lost revenue. So that's that's the basic strategy for the first part. Second part is you absolutely have to budget. If you didn't do it before, it's not optional now. You have to determine what your costs are going to be with the reduction in the revenue that you have.
You know, great advice. I know you're working with restaurant owners. We're out of time, but I want to ask you, just ballpark it. When all this is done, what percentage of restaurants do you think are not going to have made it?
I don't have that level of a crystal ball. As opposed to giving you the percentage that isn't going to make it, I've got hopes that roughly 85% will make it. So
that's awesome. I hope you're right, because these are our local folks who employ local employees, and we support them as best we can. Great to see you this morning, and we hope 85% do come out of this on the other side.
Yep.
Have a good Monday.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you.